Hello, hello there, fine folks of the internet. We're going to try something a little different today. A lot of you guys know how to do this, some of you don't, but I thought I'd share how you go about doing such a thing. So, first things first, part of the reason I really wanted to do this is I wanted to do a review of this guy. No, not the pouch, although the pouch is fantastic. Look at the pouch, yo. This is going to be my permanent house for the stubby with Kraken buttons, but right now it's got something else in it. But look at just a nice little pouch. Look how they took the time to make sure the octopus was centered on the front. Love that. Love that attention to detail. Carver's Customs, y'all. Look for the C. Boom. If you really want to Carver's Customs, you find them on Facebook. You PM Anthony. He hooks it up. They're really good people to work with. Some things it's nice just to be able to go online and buy. Sometimes it's nice being able to chat to somebody and kind of get what you want and have someone be there with you through the whole process. And they're not expensive. Something like this, don't quote me, but I want to say their mini pouches are somewhere between 15 to 21 bucks plus shipping. So, they're good people to work with. They'll do custom work for you if you need. So, charge a little bit more for it, but not much. So they're an affordable option for really nice pouches, tons of patterns. So, bam, that's not what we're talking about today. I got my portal, and I've kind of wanted to do a first look, but I've had some hesitations, and I've had some issues with the bearings. Now, I did get this secondhand, and I've just tried to clean it, and I can't quite get this little bit of grinding out of it. So I'm going to switch out the bearing. So let's switch out the bearing. Oh, wait, what the heck? Wait, where's the little retention screw? How do I get this out? Help! Help! I'm shaking it. It's not coming out. You know what we're going to need? A little bearing removal thingy. So I put this in a little pouch. This is actually the pouch that came with my Aztec spinner. So this is the one that I ordered from Flyaway Toys, and let me tell you, it's ghetto as all hell. All get out. And I love it. I love that it's ghetto. So here's the deal. Something like this, you can go to the hardware store and you can probably get the parts and make this for yourself for, I don't know, probably $4 or $5 maybe. Maybe even less. But here's the deal. They don't charge a lot for this. It's $12. Comes with the Allen wrench, comes with everything you need so you don't have to go hunting. Like, how much is your time worth? Going to a hardware store and putting this together, for me, worth $10. Have someone do that. So that's essentially then $2 I'm paying in material. On top of that, one thing you can't really do, now you can obviously get all the parts to do this, but they've machined one piece, or if it's not machined, they got a very specific piece. I've never seen it. I don't know what this else would be for, but it's exactly the size of an R188 and a 608. So you can put it in this way with this. And let me tell you, ghetto is all get out, right? Like, this is just a washer. This is just a bolt that basically is almost the exact same size as an R188. So it's centered in there. That's important so the spinner doesn't move around. And these are literally sawed off pieces of PVC. Look at that. But again, $12, that's all I'm looking for. I don't need anything fancy for this. So what do? We put the washer on so that the PVC has something to stick to. Now, if I'm doing an R188, I use the smaller one. If I'm doing a 608, I use the bigger one. So we're doing an R188. Then I'll put the spinner on. I'll try and get it close to center. And then I'll put this piece on. Now, because the screw and everything's the same size, it forces it right into the right position. And then, whoops, we put the wing nut on. And then mechanical advantage, just science, y'all. So we just tighten this down a little bit. I make sure that the PVC is going to allow the spinner to push the bearing out. Come on, back up. Back it up. Back it up, back it up. Oh, you know what's probably happening is this is probably catching with it. There we go. So, sorry. So for $12, I'm happy with this. Now, and there you go. You just twist it like that. Yeah, I was just about to talk over that, but let's see the magic. So you're just twisting this down. Oh, I didn't put I don't know if that's really necessary. This other washer is supposed to go on top, I think, so you don't bump into that. So I don't know if that's really an issue. And then that's pretty much it. Then it pushes the bearing out. See that? The bearing just fell off in there. Can you see that? Yep. And then we just take everything apart. Now, Thrax makes one. Theirs is $40, made out of aluminum. It's a much less ghetto setup, but it's also $40. So, you can pick your poisons. There's other options out there. The Thrax one looks, I'm not going to lie, it looks really nice. It looks very, very nice, y'all. So, There we have it. So there's a little bit of the glue in there. Now, I've only done this with a couple bearings. I haven't actually used this. That was actually literally the first time I was using that when I kind of made my own at-home ghetto one, and it just, basically the big part of it is this screw wasn't wide enough, so everything kind of wobbled, so it was hard to get everything lined up, and this piece below was too narrow, so I really had to get it lined up just perfect to get it to push the bearing through, so it was just a pain in the ass. Pain in the butt, sorry. So, look how good that looks. We'll get into that soon, now that I can get a new bearing in it. Anyway, what I was going to say is a lot of times with these glued bearings, once you take the bearing out, oh, this is laser etched. SR 188. I'm going to play around with this bearing and try and clean it a little bit more now that it's out of here. But so what I was saying though is sometimes with the glued bearing, once that glue is in there, the next time you go to put a bearing in, fits pretty snug. Like that fit in there pretty well, but I don't think that's, I would consider like in there. I don't know if I really trust that that's in there. So depending on what's going on and depending on the spinner you're putting that bearing into, you may want to use this tool to actually push it back in as well. So you would just do essentially the same thing, but have the bearing above the spinner, and then you would kind of tighten that down to push it in if it's a really tight fit. Sometimes if it's a little loose, it can be hard to either get it centered and stay in place, or you end up having the bearing just tilted a little bit in there, and that can cause some wobble. So in which case you may want to have something like this to set the spinner on and keep it flush. So this is just a wine cork, but I can kind of push it on to make sure that it's flush. So I just need to make sure that in theory the bearing's centered in there. Looks a little higher on this side than it is on that side. Now being centered vertically shouldn't matter too much. That feels pretty snug. Tell you what we're gonna do. We might just try and run it like that. No. We're gonna do it right because I want to show you guys putting in Loctite. Sorry about that. So this is how I put in Loctite, y'all. So this is 242 blue, so it's not the super hard stuff. It's not the red. I forget the different numbers, but 242 I think is the number that's pretty much universally agreed that you want. So I'm just putting a little drip on this side of this toothpick. And that's really it, and I'm just spinning that toothpick around in there. That's not really a lot in there, because here's what's going to happen. I'm going to put this bearing in, and this is one of the Stealth Hybrid Ceramics from Stealth Spinners. As even when doing that, you can see it's pushing out some of the blue. You don't want to have a lot in there, because if you have too much, one, you've got a mess on your hands, but then two, it's probably going to take a long time to dry, which also sucks. And then I guess three, which was what I was really going to say, is that you could have some get in the bearing, and guess what that does to your bearing? Yeah, you guessed it. Locks your bearing tight as well. So if you have too much, you can just use a little bit of paper towel and wipe it up. But I think we're pretty good there. And again, that feels pretty solid, so I'm really interested to see what this feels like. Now, in theory, especially if you're letting that Loctite dry, they say leave it for 24 hours. In most cases, I find even 3 and 4 hours hasn't been an issue for me, but I'm also not putting a lot in there. And most of the bearings I've been putting in, the few that I've had to do were pretty tight fits. So really, I think the only ones I've had to do is this one and the stainless steel stubby when I did the polishing. I think that's it. But both of those were pretty quick and good to go. So I forgot these buttons are actually pretty tight, so it is going to push the bearing out to do that. So we're going to do it the right way. Come on. Dang it. See, that's why I should have waited. All right, we are back. Sorry about that. Yeah, that's why you should have waited. And I tried to be fancy because I really wanted to feel what that spinner felt like. But that, the buttons on this portal are just the slightest bit tight, so they really fit in there nice and tight, but yeah, they also come out tight and then push the bearing out, and that's why you really should just wait and have the patience. So I have the patience just to wait. So we're going to leave that. But yeah, that's all you do. So that's how you change a bearing in a Pressfit glue bearing. If it's a Pressfit, you just push it out and then push it back in. If it's a Pressfit, you're probably going to need to use the tool to put it back in. And if it's a glued bearing, sometimes the residue left from the glue in there makes it so you don't need to glue it again. but probably should glue it anyway. So yeah, that's it. Thanks for watching, guys, and we'll catch you on the next one. Hopefully we can get this portal review coming up soon because I'm excited to do that. Sweet. Peace. Kisses.